Hi, this is Jeff Kober, and we welcome you to this episode of Disney Insights. Well, as I prepared for this podcast, all of the joy and happy moments of our stay during Disneyland's 70th anniversary just flooded over me. This is my opportunity to celebrate happy with you. Indeed, I would say it was one of the most wonderful and memorable trips our family had, even though it was at times intense, given all that we wanted to see and do and perhaps eat. Anyway, while Disneyland's 70th anniversary will be accented by seasonal events such as Halloween and Christmas, know that this is going on through the summer of 2026. I want to know that every one of you listening out there will visit, and my duty here in this podcast is to get you excited to do so. When we're through with this podcast, you'll see that this should have been the anniversary celebration Walt Disney World should have had for its 50th. But we're here and it's Disneyland, so join us as we celebrate truly happy moments in Disneyland's 70th anniversary. This podcast is produced by myself and Performance Journeys, which offers training, development, and consultant support to organizations big and small and entrepreneurs new and established, with a wide variety of resources and long-time in-the-trench experience. We offer workshops, online learning, coaching, and so much more to organizations that are wanting to build their teams, raise organizational excellence, improve leadership, or learn best practices from Disney and other world-class organizations. So hey, come check us out over at performancejourneys.com. And please support us not only by subscribing to this podcast, but offering up a rating, review, or referral to others. Make sure you check out DisneyInsights.com, where we offer many of the key points, photos, videos, links, and more that we'll be talking through in this. And then you should also know that YouTube carries now our podcast. So please subscribe to our Disney Insights YouTube page, as it will be more of our social strategy moving forward. At any rate, we welcome any positive thoughts and comments on our YouTube podcast as well. In fact, when you go to check it out, you'll see that we've added some dozen videos just for Disneyland's 70th anniversary. Plus, there's hundreds of other Disney videos from parks around the world and so much more. So we're beginning to host this podcast on YouTube itself, and make sure you are subscribed. There's so many facets of this anniversary celebration. And so I probably begin with just that immediate impact when you pass security and you enter the promenade that is between both Disneyland and Disneyland California Adventure. And there you are greeted by this Imagineer Wally Crump style Tower of the Four Winds, but it's in the form of the castle. And it's beautiful, and it just reaches out, and each of the turrets, the 5 turrets, celebrate one of the lands, the original lands of Disneyland. There's music playing throughout the parks, and it just feels like a celebration that you are getting, you are just beginning to enter. You see a color palette of pinks and blues and purples and deep yellows. It is really a beautiful look and feel for a celebration like this. And it just permeates everything from the signage to bunting along the streets to the flowers themselves. Everything kind of contributes to this feeling of that you are in a real celebration. As you go throughout the parks, you'll find these Instagrammable signs, opportunities to just kind of show that you were there for the 70th. You want to capture that image and picture, and so you'll find them throughout the parks as you go along. There's bunting on top of the lighting. Even when you get to the castle, there's this really nice looking signage at the base of the castle, and it doesn't ruin the castle experience. It just accents what are the colors of the castle and the flowers around it and so forth. And by the way, even when you get over to Disney California Adventure, you're going to see the party continues there as well. Not quite as much bunting and so forth, but definitely a feel that you are in the 70th anniversary. My favorite was the and it kind of had a projection-like quality at nighttime, but the 70th anniversary had long bunting draping down the tower of the Carthay Circle Theater, with signage saying a 70th celebration world premiere. You are not going to leave these parks without knowing that Disneyland is 70 years old. It is just very clear as you go through this experience in the parks. Now, with this, there's been a couple of new attractions over the years, but more than that, there's been new magic on Disney attractions. So I just want to accent a couple of from both sets of starting from Disney California Adventure. There are just a couple of little touches they've added for the 70th, not as much as Disneyland, but it's kind of cute. I think we've all waited for something to come into Toy Story Mania that would take it and do something a little different. And they've played around with that. There's this sense of, you know how you have these sparkly kind of stickers you get off of a sticker book? What they've done on the attraction is that they've put these 70 words, 70 stickers with all its sparkly look kind of thing onto different gaming attractions. And so and when you hit the 70th anniversary ones, you get more points and it kind of builds up from there. So it's kind of fun to kind of see, and I'm hoping that's a prelude to much, much more that could be done as overlays to Midway Mania, which I think really needs a little bit of TLC at this point, because some of this, we're going back over 20 years in technology since these attractions, well, particularly the one in Florida opened. So I just think it's a really nice touch that they've added there. I should also mention that while I didn't have a chance to see it, and I'm embarrassed to say there are some things. We spent 3 days in the park. And I thought and I wasn't expecting to do every attraction. I've done all the attractions again and again and again. This wasn't about that. It was about capturing the experience of just being in the parks. There are attractions like Indiana Jones Adventure or Soarin' that we never went on during our time there because we had so many other things we wanted to do. One of the things that has been added for the 70th has been the new version of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, which maybe gives us a little bit of a sense of some of the changes coming over to Disney Hollywood Studios. But the Disney Junior Mickey Mouse Clubhouse Live debuted at the Disney Theater in Disney California Adventure in Hollywoodland. And this has really just a number of characters, kind of a fun-filled party. Goofy, Daisy, and Pluto haven't made it. So Mickey and Minnie take their party on the road to find them. Ultimately, they end up uniting everybody together and bringing them all together. There are also other little things, little touches over Disney California Adventure. Rex has recently become a walk-around character over at Pixar Pier. And Phineas and Ferb and Perry, if you're big into those characters, you can actually find them tagging along the streets of Hollywoodland. Not sure how long all of these things are going on, particularly like character appearances. One of the things moving over to Disneyland that probably is not going to be lasting very long is the Pixar Pals Playtime Party. That's been happening at the Fantasyland Theater, and it's essentially a lot of Pixar characters along with interactive games, activities, photo locations, lots of places. This part gets more Instagrammable every year. But before I get to that, I should also mention, going back to Disney California Adventure, there's some newer things that maybe you haven't seen. And by the way, construction is underway. If you haven't seen Monsters Incorporated, the dark ride, that is going away within a few months, or even sooner, I think, maybe by fall. So you want to capture that. We took that in just because it's the last time to see that. That whole section of the park is is being made into a Pandora Avatar world. There's also construction going on Avengers Campus. I have to say, one of the nice little moments we kind of caught on, and I'm going to do another podcast next month because a number of people have said, hey, we're going to Disneyland. Give us your guide for doing that. And it's been a long time since I've really given out a guide, but it's overdue. And one of the things I will just hint at right now is that single rider is your fan, especially if you're not going to do the whole Lightning Lane. Even if you did the whole Lightning Lane, single rider is still your fan. And one of the places that played out was the Spider-Man adventure. When I first did that attraction, when it first opened a few years ago, it was okay, but the wait was painful. I ended up doing single rider with my daughter, and we had so much fun, and it got through so quickly. We got in line and did it again immediately, and had so much more fun, really kind of playing out how to take on those spider bots that happen through, and they're kind of fun, and there's kind of some cool merchandise associated with them. I have a video of Web Slingers, which is the name of that attraction, on Disney Insights. You may want to check that out. But again, it's not just new magic to some of these adventures, but some new attractions that maybe either you haven't been to Disneyland in a while and you should check out when you're there, or you've never been to Disneyland, and thus there are some attractions you've never seen, and Web Slingers just might be one of those. Moving on to Disneyland, last week I had one of my longest podcasts ever dealing with Walt Disney, A Magical Life, and I feel really great about, and the response has been really great about this podcast. Check it out if you have not heard it, because this is the new animatronic of Walt Disney, and I give a total understanding of that experience and what works and what are the challenges and so forth. And that, of course, is a centerpiece to this entire 70th anniversary. You really don't want to go to Disneyland and not take a few moments to go see Walt Disney, A Magical Life. I also talked in that podcast about some ways, some places where you're getting some Disney nostalgia put in. And one of those places, and it's one of those places where new magic has been put into the whole thing, is the Main Street Cinema. The cinema on Main Street at Disneyland has, which always plays black and white Mickey shorts, now is playing a tribute to the Sherman Brothers called So Much That We Share. And it brings in a new third verse that is part of It's a Small World. In fact, that third verse is now in both the conclusion of Disneyland's It's a Small World, as well as Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom Small World. By the way, just to tell you, the conclusion, there are so many things that are better about It's a Small World at Disneyland, including the facade and the entrance and so forth, the whole arrival experience. There's a whole lot to love about Disneyland. But there's one place that Disneyland shows up, or Walt Disney World shows up really well, and it's in the finale. And now this new third verse has been added to the finale. What I will do, I have already on Disney Insights the Small World finale for Disneyland. I will try to find another moment. I've done so many videos over the last couple of days that are on the YouTube page, but I will also capture the Small World finale from Walt Disney World, and you can kind of compare the two. And one of the challenges with the Disneyland finale is that for some reason they've put everybody at a heightened stage up high, and so they're kind of hard to see. But either one, you do get this lovely third verse which has been written. Now, my understanding is that there were actually 5 verses written several decades ago, and I asked Becky Klein of the archive. She told me, she noted that she was going to scope this out, because I do think there are other verses that the Sherman Brothers wrote. I can't believe anybody else would have written verses to the Sherman Brothers song. But they were in Disney on Parade in the early 70s. And But this is the more official third verse is going, and it's a lovely verse. And I really recommend that if you haven't had a chance to check it out, either at Magic Kingdom or Disneyland, that you do so. I will also say that, again, new magic or new touches. Oh, and I'm sorry, before I go on and leave It's a Small World, I should also say that one of the things that distinguishes Disneyland from Magic Kingdom's Small World is that they actually have Disney characters sprinkled throughout in doll-like form. And it's very sweet and cute. And in that format, you'll see Miguel from Coco. He has been added with his guitar, and then Dante in an Alebrije form. They are both now a part of It's a Small World, along with other Disney characters like Cinderella and Alice in Wonderland and Moana and Stitch and so forth. It's really a fun part of the Disneyland, and I really am. I think I'm ready for that to come to Magic Kingdom. I don't know why they haven't done that yet, but I would hope that they do that some point soon. Now, again, I talked about this when I was last at Disneyland, and I came back and did a podcast. I talked about big changes that had come to the Haunted Mansion queue, as well as a new gift shop that was coming. I had an opportunity to revisit that, and I got to tell you, because I wasn't doing camera so much and taking so many angles of it, it was really an opportunity to thoughtfully see what were the details behind these queue changes. The pet cemetery alone, we were surprised at how the flowers and the plants lined up with the particular pet that was laying there, supposedly laying there in the pet cemetery portion. Really, I included a video of the Haunted Mansion changes so you could kind of see it. There's so much to take in. It really is worth looking at before you visit Disneyland, so you know what you're looking for when you get there. I also was pretty derogatory in my remarks about the new gift shop at the end of Haunted Mansion, which is Madame Leota's Somewhere Beyond. A lot of controversy about the fact that they kind of took a generic shed and redid it into a gift shop. At the time I visited back in the fall, late fall, the exterior was there, but they had not opened up the shop itself. I now have a video of that interior, and really it is very much an extension of the Haunted Mansion experience. And by the way, another extension, another change, not because of the 70th per se, but they have the new bride in the Haunted Mansion. And that was the first time I've had a chance to see that. I had seen video and pictures and thought it would be, I just thought it was a little too far pushed back, but I do like the intent of what they did. And I do like its juxtaposition to the Hatbox Ghost, which follows there at the exit of the attic, as opposed to in the Endless Hallway, which is where he's located in the Magic Kingdom. So check out all that. And there's other things that if you haven't been to Disneyland in a while, you want to check out Tiana's Bayou Adventure. You want to check out the Adventureland Treehouse, which has been completely redone. I have a wonderful video on that. And then, by the way, I kind of mentioned a little bit of it last week, but Fantastic Four doing huge work in the box office. And there's a meet and greet of that in Tomorrowland. They weren't there when I was there, but you definitely want to take advantage. That's a great meet and greet kind of opportunity, as are all the Avengers Marvel characters that are in Avengers Campus. So lots of great new attractions and new Magic 2 attractions which have been created in both parks that you want to check out. Now, let's talk food. I am surprised, having gone on a little diet before this, that I only gained 1 pound after all this. And you will think, clearly he must have gained a whole lot more going to Disneyland, because there were so many things we tried. I did not, by the way, do the banana split, which would have been there. Some of the food at Disneyland is very much in keeping with previous food offerings over the decades. And that has always been a long-term offering, the banana split. My wife and daughter did that. They loved it. It was joyous and so forth. Where I went, and I'm not a person who does fries anymore, but they have cottage fries. Now, cottage fries are kind of the same kind you get at Chick-fil-A, but these are done with kind of a Parmesan grate over it. And it brings me back to the Space Place. I think that's the name of the restaurant that used to be part of Space Mountain, not the one. There was no alien pizza planet restaurant. That used to be Mission to Mars in the 70s. This was a restaurant that was kind of butted up against Space Mountain. It's long since closed, although the food and the dining portion is still connected with the Alien Pizza Planet restaurant. At any rate, this was over at Cosmic. What is the name of that restaurant? The Old Tomorrowland Terrace restaurant, which is, and I'll remember it, Cosmic something. At any rate, it's where the bandstand is and where Stitch is, which I'll talk about in a minute. But cottage fries with Parmesan, that was a favorite of mine, along with a cheeseburger and a shake, and I did it. Cottage fries weren't as good as I remembered it. Part of the problem when you go back in time is it's just not as memorable. And in fact, one of the things I decided to do for breakfast, which was not really listed as an anniversary item, but the Mickey Mouse pancake was born at Disneyland. Used to be, as I remember it, the River Belle Terrace. But that's another story for another day. It's now at the Red Rose Tavern, which is Beauty and the Beast themed restaurant in Fantasyland. I went through a lot of hurdles to get to this Mickey Mouse pancake, which I show on my Disney Insights, and is disappointing when you see it. It, first of all, doesn't quite look like Mickey, and the old Mickey Mouse pancakes had like a pineapple smile and maraschino cherry nose or eyes or whatever, blueberry eyes, I think, and a maraschino cherry nose or vice versa. And they were just kind of a big memory for me. This was so sad and so disappointing, and I hungered through much of the morning waiting for Red Rose Tavern to open up to take advantage of it. Should not have done it. Also should not have done the signature churro. Now, Disneyland is known for its churros. Everyone knows that. There is a 70th celebration churro. It's a classic churro. It's rolled in ube sugar and topped with marbled blue raspberry icing drizzle and sprinkles. This is very Instagrammable, this little churro here. I went to order one. I paid for it. He rolls it. He puts the icing on. He goes, by the way, we're out of sprinkles. Okay. Is that all right with you? Well, I paid for it. I guess I'm going to eat it. It was such whatever magic was supposed to be in this churro moment went away with this cast member who just like, oh, yeah. It seemed so matter of fact. Like he couldn't have thought, oh, I'm running out of sprinkles. I need to order some more. Or I ought to tell the guests before they order it, hey, we're out of sprinkles. Not that I live and die on sprinkles, but it was just kind of, it's a lost moment there. Galactic Grill, by the way. Galactic Grill is where I got my cheeseburger and cottage fries. Anyway, going back to it. And I'll go back to my dessert, actually, there, which I had, which is this pretzel. I'm not big on Disney pretzels, but this one was a lemon chiffon pretzel. And it's offered, it's kind of near Star Tours. The adventures continue past their churro cart. It is a cream cheese filled pretzel dipped in lemon flavored icing and topped with crushed vanilla wafers. I'm telling you, this thing was heaven on earth. It was the best thing I had during my whole time there, and it was more than you could eat. It was really a shareable item. Unfortunately, my wife had gone to get the anniversary macaron. Now, first of all, let me just separate the macarons from the macaroon. There's a Celebration Matterhorn macaroon dipped in white chocolate and sprinkles. That's always a fun one to get. And with the sprinkles, see, I did get sprinkles finally. That one was a great little thing. This is at Jolly Holiday Bakery. Didn't eat enough at Jolly Holiday. You can never have enough at Jolly Holiday Bakery. But anyway, got the macaroon. That was great. That was a couple of days later. But she had brought over the 70th Celebration macaron, which is vanilla bean, buttercream, strawberry jam, fresh strawberry and strawberry whip topping, and strawberry crunch all together in a kind of a pie-shaped form. It was over the top. And that with the lemon pretzel was just way more than we could handle, but they were both really kind of delicious. Now, really, I've left churros and gone to the world of macarons. And let me just say, we are my favorite of all macarons. Well, almost my favorite. Well, I have to say it's longtime favorite. I'll call it my longtime favorite is the raspberry one, the mini raspberry one at Jolly Holiday Bakery. And it's still there because I had so many other things. I didn't even try the macaron. I had the macaron for this visit, probably the first time in forever. I haven't had that macaron. There is an alien macaron over at the pizza place, the alien pizza place, but it was not as good as previous macarons that I had there. I think I'd had one that was a peanut butter and jelly one. Their macaroon, and they call it, by the way, because the aliens, macaroon, filled with birthday cake, buttercream, and confetti cake center. It was just too sweet. I've had it before with kind of a funky peanut butter jelly center, I think. It was really good, and I'm not a peanut butter and jelly kind of guy. But at any rate, the best one is over at San Francisco, over at Disney California Adventure, and it is the Baymax macaron. And I'm not even sure what the filling was in it, but it was kind of lightly powdered on the top, kind of Baymax size, and whatever it was delicious, and it did it for me. That was the best macaron of the experience. By the way, I don't know if I've talked about this, but over at the Land, the secret macaron over there at Seasons Cafe at Walt Disney World is a pistachio one with pistachios filling. And I got to tell you, this one may top all of them, even the mini one, the raspberry one. If you haven't been to the Land, you got to check it out. Clearly, I have overdone my macaron intake, but I wanted to give you a sense of some of the good, bad, and ugly of the food. I got to say, some of the older things, and they had other things on the menu. They had it is a deep dive if you know what a tuna melt is, much less one from Hook's Galley, which is the old pirate ship, Peter Pan, Captain Hook pirate ship that was in Fantasyland before 1984. Fresh tuna salad topped with Munster and herb marinated tomatoes. I never did make it to that. Not sure I would have enjoyed it. I don't remember enjoying it 40 years ago, so I didn't think it would. And then Rancho del Zocalo did a fried tamale walking taco. I should have done this. A fried beef tamale with chili, corn chips, and okay, don't call it corn chips. Call it Fritos, because it used to be Frito-Lay. Frito-Lay. It is Frito-Lay. Fritos, diced onions with cilantro, cheddar cheese, and sour cream. I should have tried that. Did miss that opportunity. At any rate, lots to try out when you're there at 70th anniversary celebration. Now, the next thing I wanted to cover was 2 interactive souvenirs that were kind of interesting. There's one that is over the top. It is, let's see if we have a name to this. It's the key to Disneyland. And it's a key that's over a foot long, and it's big, and it's got a big D on the handle, and then it lights up in different ways at different times and so forth. And this piece of 70th merchandise allows you to go to 9 different key locations at the fire station, Main Street, Aladdin's Lamp and Adventureland, New Orleans Square outside Club 33, Bayou Country outside Pooh Corner, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge across from Rise of the Resistance, Frontierland over at the outside the gift shops there, Mickey's Toontown across from Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin, Fantasyland over near the Fantasy Fair, and Tomorrowland near Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger. Every time you stick in your key and turn it, all sorts of magical things occur. Did they mention? Oh, I'm sorry. I said by the gift shops for Frontierland, but it's actually the stagecoach that you turn the key in, and the whole stagecoach lights up with passengers inside. It's kind of clever and fun and creative. All the bubbles come out in one place. It looks like a data pad over its Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. It's very cool. And when you finish going through all the different locations, all 9, then you come back, I think, to Main Street, and you turn the key in another station at the front of the park, and there your key lights up and you unlock one of 9 mystery pins that are available to you. Now, this is the problem with it, is that the price tag is $59.99. And after you do all these fun and wonderful and magical things, you get 1 pin. And you don't know which pin you get one. And if you really want to do it, then you've got to buy 9 of those keys and do it 9 times in a row in order to get 9 mystery pins. Not that you're going to get all uniquely 9. You're going to have to go trade them. It's a little bit more than I care to take on. I felt a little more affordable than $59.99 times 9 was the Magic Band Plus, which they had a special one for the Disneyland 70th celebration. And it looked beautiful and cute. Now, to back up here, I am not a big fan of Magic Bands. I saw their potential at Walt Disney World when they were trying to do all these interactive things with them, but then it's all kind of fizzed out. There's still things you can do, but it's not a whole lot, and they don't seem to be really committed to making that thing successful. And so I'm surprised myself that I even took on buying a Magic Band Plus, which is about $34.99 plus tax. When you do this, you get to go to 5 different locations. Well, obviously it lights up during the fireworks and other parades and kinds of things going on. But you get to go to 5 different places. The first was Tilly's booth at Main Street Cinema. And so it's almost like a ticket comes out acknowledging and celebrating the 70th anniversary. Over in Tomorrowland, it's almost like a license plate. Well, it's over by Autopia, and it spits out something. In Adventureland, it spits out different kinds of things from the skipper lockers at the Jungle Cruise. And at Frontierland, there's a booth that celebrates the Golden Horseshoe Review, the Mark Twain Riverboat, and the Disneyland Railroad trading card. Actually, there are 3 at Frontierland. There's only 1 at Adventureland. There's no trading card at Fantasyland. But what they do is they have these interactive elements that come, oh my goodness, they're like 4 different ones. And my favorite was Arthur. His face is on a medallion, and it opens up and you see carousel horses going up. But there's one for Peter Pan and others. I thought it was really cute, and I decided I'd take advantage of it. So I get there the first day, I buy it. I got busy with things. I didn't until evening get a chance to try it, which it was in Tomorrowland. And by then I saw that a bazillion of these things had spit out over the thing, and you really almost didn't need the Magic Band to get one. So I thought, well, okay. So I grabbed one from there. The next day I did Tilly. That was cool. And then I got busy again. And by the time I was done in the parks, well, no, I had done Tilly the third day. We did the way we did it. We did Disneyland the first day. We didn't do a park hopper. We did Disneyland the first day, Disney California Adventure the second day, and then back to Disneyland on the third day. On the third day, I went and did it in the morning with Tilly. Then I went back to the hotel. I took off the band to have it recharge, and I forgot to bring it back with me. And so when I got back the evening, I couldn't finish the fantasy. I'd started the Fantasyland, but it was hard to film during the day. I thought I'd come back at night. So I didn't get to finish the Fantasyland, nor did I get any at the Frontierland. There were 3 of them there. At Adventureland, I saw this kid. I go, so I said, can I just at least film this? The kid felt bad and gave me the card. I felt so stupid. But so just know, if you go with the Magic Band route, you're going to have to bring that puppy with you. And that's not something ingrained in me to do. And at any rate, it was kind of the one thing I did a t-shirt as well, but I didn't do a lot of merchandise. I love the merchandise. I love the look of the merchandise, but I didn't need any merchandise. But there is a lot of great merchandise, and you ought to see it. And the one piece of merchandise we did get, but not at Disneyland, but it sold at Disneyland, is this bubble blower thing that my wife got for our grandchildren, and they love it. So go look for that. That's another conversation. We got to move on to daytime entertainment. There is not as much daytime entertainment as there is in the evenings, but and the first one's kind of I think it's already ended already. It's the Celebrate Happy Cavalcade. I've done a video of it, but I've done it with a montage of all the Disneyland celebration things. You got to see that on YouTube because it'll give you a quick 2-3 minute glimpse of all the offerings of the 70th anniversary. So I did it to the Celebrate Happy Cavalcade that came through, which was a little bit of a confusion to me because I was like, they had Shelley May and one of the other bears leading the cavalcade, and I wasn't sure what the whole attachment of that was to the 70th anniversary. There were a few characters. There were the main Disney characters and a bunch of dancers. It was colorful, but it was short and it was okay. Stitch's Interplanetary Beach Party Blast happens over at Galactic Grill, where I had gotten my cottage fries and grilled cheese cheeseburger. Pixar Pals Playtime Party. I think this has already ended. It's over at the Fantasyland Theater. I think this may be one of those offerings that comes and goes during the holiday. Now, don't get too anxious about that, because if you go during the holidays, you're going to have some amazing attractions and parades and things to see during that time. But it is kind of, some of this is interspersed as the celebration carries through the end of summer next year. If you are looking for a great Pixar offering, the surprise of all the daytime entertainment was Better Together, a Pixar Celebration, which is a parade at Disney California Adventure. And I thought this was just kind of a regurgitated parade that they offered before COVID, when they were the summer they opened up Pixar Pier, and they had a Pixar parade over at Disneyland, and they kind of had a Pixar celebration over the summer. And some of those floats have returned, but they've added some newer floats, and they're impressive. Luca comes out, and you see that they're kind of fish underwater, and then they're human at the top. Soul playing the whole piano thing, Turning Red with the whole band. K-pop is it, or whatever the band is. It really, these bigger, larger floats makes it feel like it's really actually a parade. But what made the whole thing so cool, and I have to give credit to my son, who has this as an individual with autism, he has to be either at the beginning, the beginning, like the first person, or at the beginning of a parade, or the last person at the end of a parade. And in this case, we knew that we were going to a parade. He went to the very end of the parade route. How he even knew this, because we haven't done that many parades in California Adventure. But at the end of the parade route, you go to a fenced gate area that is next to Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. And so that's fine. We watched the parade from there. It wasn't very crowded there. So that was kind of good for getting video and so forth. And I captured the video, so forth. But the best part of this is at the end of the parade, all the dancers come back out and they do this dance off at the end right there without any floats. They just do this big dance off at the end. They do their own thing. They go wild, and it's very cool. I got to tell you, it's one of the most energetic group of dancers I've ever seen, and it really is a delight. Don't know how this is going to time out the celebration, but if you are there during the Pixar celebration, get to the end of the parade. Find out where the parade is ending, because there's often two parades and they'll end at different points. Find out what that ending point is, and you'll be treated. By the way, there's a video I have just of both the parade and just of the dance off as well. So check that out. Now, we get to the nighttime parade, or the nighttime offerings. And I got to tell you, this is, and we'll talk about it a little bit more next month. How many days do you spend at Disneyland, Walt Disney World? And a lot of it depends on how much nighttime offering there is. And I have to say, for the 70th, they were slammed with nighttime offerings. There was so much to see and do that I missed segments of it. One of them was the biggest segment, World of Color Happiness, which has a very cute intro to it, done by the Muppets, and the lawyer, the Muppets. I can't remember what he is as an animal, but he comes out and he does this legal spiel brief to the audience before the thing begins. Very cute, and it's a show. If you've never seen World of Color, you have to go. Whatever the show is, if it's a holiday show, it's a regular show, you have to see World of Color, because there is nothing fountain-wise like this show. Also very interesting and very cool was Shadows of a Memory, a Skywalker Saga. So go to the opposite side of the resort, over to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, which is behind Frontierland, over at Disneyland. And there is this show that tells the story of Luke and Leia and Darth Vader. It's more about Darth Vader. And it's all done by projecting up against the mountains of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, up behind the Millennium Falcon. It's really impressive. I had to go there. I had to catch a video of that, and I did. Check it out. It is very impressive, and crazy enough, it's like back to Fantasmic, which is also playing just on the other side of the berm. Fantasmic plays in Frontierland, or New Orleans Square, at Disneyland, in the middle of where Tom Sawyer Island is. Yes, they still have a Tom Sawyer Island. Thank goodness for Fantasmic. It's probably kept it there, and that's all going. So if you haven't seen Fantasmic, you have to see that too. Then you have Paint the Night. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I know, I did a review of the new Disney Starlight Parade at Magic Kingdom. I've since been back there since I got home from the trip. Took my daughter. She hadn't had a chance to see it herself. And we loved it. It's really sweet. It's enjoyable. Worth going to. You should definitely see it at Magic Kingdom. That said, if I made any comparisons in that podcast to Paint the Night, I am stupid beyond belief, because Paint the Night, while it is kind of apple oranges, it's more of a party parade more rather than an enchantment parade. There is nothing like Paint the Night in terms of its use of lighting, of color, of technology, of dancers in the street. You know, I talk a lot about the Cars Parade float, for instance, but the car dancers that go down the street are just amazing, and they're lit up and rock, and they are a total show. And this was so popular that on the 2 days we were at Disneyland, my son had to see it both times each night at Disneyland. And of course, where are we at? We're at the beginning point or the end point of the parade, and he absolutely loved it. I don't know anyone who doesn't love it. Paint the Night is really impressive, and I apologize if I demurred it on behalf of Disney Starlight, but it really is impressive. There's another show. By the way, we were looking at Paint the Night the first time over at Small World where it came out. So we're in the Small World Promenade area. Small World has the ability to do projection work, and which is great because Sleeping Beauty Castle at Disneyland is very small and it can only do so much projection work. They put on a show just for the 70th called Tapestry of Happiness. And I am embarrassed to say I did not see this show because I was over at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge gathering stuff over there that I wanted to gather. And it was just a haul and a half, and it got late. In fact, there was only one more showtime left, and it was 11:45 at night, and I was dead. Remember, I'm still on Eastern time, not Pacific time, and so I missed it. But I have included a video of it on YouTube. Check it out. The projection work is so cool, and it actually celebrates the heritage of Disneyland and rides and attractions that have long since gone. The Skyway, the motorboat cruise, all sorts of crazy things that have long gone. It's a great little colorful show. Then you have the fireworks. Now, I had seen Wondrous Journeys from Main Street. It's a castle show and also continues with projections down Main Street, which is helpful because, as I said, the castle is small and you can only see so much projection on the castle. And I had the video on DisneyInsights.com. You could see that castle show. But what is really impressive, you can also kind of see the show a little bit from Fantasmic Lagoon. They tell people at Fantasmic, hey, just stay where you're at. You don't have to go over to Main Street. You could see the fireworks from Frontierland. You do see fireworks very well from Frontierland. And then they project onto the fountains some of the imagery in the show. But if you really want to get a sense of the projection imagery, then stay at It's a Small World after Paint the Night, because there you see Wondrous Journeys played out at Small World Promenade with the fireworks behind it. And it too is impressive. I captured that video, and you definitely want to see how these shows compare, because there's a third show going on, or a third place where all this is happening. Well, actually a fourth if you include Fantasmic. So you got Main Street and the castle. You've got something going on over in Fantasmic. You've got Small World Promenade. But then you go over to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, where there you can see the fireworks from around where the Millennium Falcon is. Only you don't hear the same music. What they've done over at Galaxy's Edge, and this is amazing, they have created a whole different score to go with those exact same fireworks. So while you're listening to all these little Disney tunes play out, Hunchback and so forth, Hercules, I'll find my way, all that kind of stuff, you're getting dun, 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 dun over at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And it is like a whole different show, but with the same fireworks, and it lights up, and it's just absolutely amazing. Fire of the Rising Moons. It's done on select nights, usually toward weekend nights. You want to really check out when these things are happening when you're planning on your next trip. But it is just really amazing that they have been able to take the same show and create a different score and a different experience that ties with those fireworks. Again, between that at Star Wars and the Shadows of a Memory Skywalker Saga, you could spend an evening over at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, which is a great time to be in that particular land. At any rate, you get an idea that the nighttime offering at Disneyland is immense. And again, you may be there and it's the holiday offerings, but those with the Christmas parade or the Oogie Boogie Bash at California, there's just so much going on that anytime you go between now and the end of next summer, you are going to get a great offering of experiences as you visit the Disneyland Resort. Now, if you haven't gotten there yet, Just hang in there. First of all, the YouTube channel offers so much of what we talked about. And remember, we're still going through our Disneyland 70th anniversary. We've talked about Tomorrowland and Main Street and Adventureland and Frontierland. And next month, we'll be going to Fantasyland, followed by, I think, New Orleans Square. We're going to do New Orleans Square and Bayou Country together. And then we're going to do Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And then we're going to end with Toontown. So stay connected with our Disneyland podcast series. And again, next month, I'll talk about how you want to kind of schedule your experience so you get the best possible experience while you're at Disneyland. If you are looking to go, then, hey, reach out to David and Leah Zanola at Zanola Travel. You see the link in our show notes. You see it on DisneyInsights.com. They're going to save you a ton of time and energy. And they know Disneyland. So they're going to get you connected with the right experience as you plan your trip to Disneyland. And they're going to tell you you're going to need more days than you think you do at Disneyland, which is what I'm going to tell you next month as well. So check out Zanola Travel. Meanwhile, you also want to check out books. We've had a huge record number of books sold this last month on Amazon. And may I just suggest, we talked about Walt Disney Magical Life. You want to check out, if you like to learn about Walt Disney, his brother Roy, that whole experience, those first 50 years, check out Disney Insights 100, 1923 to 1973. That is a great book for really seeing some things that most people really don't know about Walt Disney. Equally so, Wonderful World of Customer Service. I got to tell you, the customer service was great at Disney. The guest experience was great. We call them guests, not customers. We talk about that in the book. Check out that. And Disney Leadership and You. Great book. Check them all out at Amazon. And the links are in the show notes. So if you're looking for excellence in your organization, remember, whether it's a keynote speaker, consulting, support via classroom, workshops, keynote speakers, online tools, other resources. If you're talking about customer service, leadership development, employee engagement, hey, you want to talk about the legacy of Disneyland and the lessons learned for any organization. Let me tell you, we have so much to talk about. And you can find me at Performance Journeys. Just reach out to me via text, via email, call me. I have had folks who read my books or who listen to these podcasts, they get on the phone. They just call me. And you'll see those links and you can reach out to me. Again, thank you for joining us. Thanks for being part of this podcast. Know that, as in the title of Performance Journeys, it's as much about the journey as it is about performance. Find the second star to the right. Keep going straight on till you reach it. Follow the compass of your heart. And know that with a smile and a song, a little faith, effort, and pixie dust, your dreams can come true. After all, if we can dream it, we can do it. Until next time, bright suns. We'll see you real soon.